As of recording this video, it's been 5 days since InFold's quote-unquote apology and their cancellation of Valko's release. So I think maybe it's time to sit down and think about the consequences of this whole mess. Yes, that's the only way I can describe this. It's a giant, probably irreversible mess. Hi, I'm Arya Luna and welcome to my channel. I make reviews, commentaries, and video essays. Recently, I branched out to cover otome game content, particularly Love and Deepspace. I started making more lads content specifically after Valko's announcement since I was really excited about the release of this character. And well, then he got cancelled. I made a spontaneous, unscripted video sharing my response to the cancellation. Thank you for all the love and positive response towards that one. I simply wanted to vent and make space for all the global fans to share their thoughts about the situation and rant about it together. So thank you for sharing your thoughts in the comments. In this video, I want to ruminate on what the consequences the whole situation might have on the future of the gacha otome industry and the player community. In case you're not following the whole controversy, there is a full-fledged movement going on online with fans trying to move InFold to change their drastic decision to take down Valko and cancel the possibility of any sixth love interest. This includes mass unfollowing and review bombing to create pressure. Creators, including myself, are making fan art and using the hashtag bringvalkoback. There are petitions going around with over 100,000 signatures. The aim is to get InFold to acknowledge the global community who were truly baffled by this decision since we really loved Valko. I just want to add here though, I do not wish to create further divide between the national and international player base. Yes, a section of that community escalated the situation which led to the cancellation, but a group among them is also strongly against the cancellation. That being said, I want to focus on what might happen as a result. This is just my personal opinions and predictions. I do not know anything more than you do, so please keep that in mind. Firstly, the cancellation will have a lot of impact in-game. It will affect the story, the lore, and lead the team to reconceptualize a lot of the core aspect of MC's story. I really don't know if they'll keep Valko in the story as an NPC. I do not think so, which leads me to believe that they would need the whole story as a result. As discussed by many players in detail online, a sixth love interest was always planned. Valko and his organization was always supposed to be an integral part of the main story. So removing him not only erases years of hard work, it also affects the gameplay experience in a significant way. Including him would have given them an interesting opportunity to expand the story, create more content. But the fans who had problems with Valko were short-sighted enough not to see the potential, complaining about how the old allies are being neglected. Don't get me wrong, that is indeed an issue. A lot of the stories of the existing 5 allies were not developed for a long time. So I understand that, but it is also important to recognize the opportunity that Valko would have provided for the larger story of the game. So now they have to make do with the existing 5 allies and see how they can rely only on them to write a whole new direction for their main story. This is a one-of-a-kind situation that might make history in the gaming industry. Never has a live server gacha game company scrapped the release of a whole character who is integral to the plot of their game and the experience of their game. This sets an interesting precedent that can have serious consequences for the games of the genre and beyond. So now I'd like to move on to what I think would be the bigger consequences. This places a small group of fans in an extremely powerful position. So now I'd like to move on to what I think would be the bigger consequences. This situation places a small group of fans in an extremely powerful position. If fans can create enough pressure by involving press, news media, and government authorities to force a game developer to alter content, it sets a dangerous precedent. It says that if fans can escalate a situation enough, they can get anything they want. Other companies will start keeping this in mind for future content. They might scrap existing ideas in development, and they may curtail their creativity to fit certain specific moral standards and try to prevent a disaster on this scale at all costs. What this also means is a hindrance to creativity. This is a form of censorship that hasn't been fully acknowledged yet. When audiences protest on unreasonable grounds, and these protests are based on moral or political considerations or even ideology, creators need to stand their ground and protect their own creativity. That's why studios don't scrap film or TV projects just because some groups don't like an aspect or a creative direction they take. This is truly dystopian, what we experienced with Valko and Love and Deepspace. It is really disturbing. A small, toxic part of the player base is apparently willing to risk their favorite game being banned to get something they find mildly disturbing deleted from it. And I don't really mean the entire national player base of Love and Deepspace, but only a part of it. I know that a big chunk of Chinese player base never wanted the cancellation of Valko, but some changes within LADS and how the company handles issues. I don't want to make this a fully political discussion, but the game is already trying to find workarounds to escape government censorship. Just how out of your mind do you have to be to drag the game purposefully into the government's attention? Now, before we start to panic, let me just pause here. I honestly don't think that the game will be banned by any authority or that it will be forced to go out of service. None of that will happen. At the end of the day, InFold is a multi-million-dollar company that contributes significantly to the national economy. My concern is the example that this whole situation sets for the entire gaming industry. Toxic parts of the fandom for any game might see this as an opportunity to pressure their favorite live server game into doing something they want. And live server games might be forced to change their plans to accommodate that. This might affect decisions of games that are currently in development, especially gacha otome games, say Arcosaur games, Silent Whispers. They might make changes to their most interesting character. I'm really excited about this character and the game, so I really hope not. He's also a werewolf character, so I'm kind of scared. Every other live server game may be forced to overthink every single piece of feedback they receive from fans. It is genuinely a huge mess, and it is going to be extremely difficult for a lot of people to get out of it. Another thing I wanted to touch upon is that this is the final wake-up call for the global player bases or customers of Chinese game developers like InFold, that they will always listen to the national player base first. Very understandably though, they prioritize their national player bases. They are the majority in terms of numbers, and the global players are numerically a much smaller group. In terms of revenue for InFold, the share of the national player base is much higher than that of global as well. We need to be prepared for situations like these in the future. And this definitely can lead a change in the way the global players are viewed by companies like InFold. It will depend on whether or not the current movements online asking to revert the decision regarding Valko makes a big enough impact. It can go either way. Either it changes for the better, the company is willing to listen to the global community, or it sets a precedent for always prioritizing the national player base. We don't know which direction it will go as of now. We haven't heard anything from them since their apology and the announcement for Valko's cancellation. All we know is that this decision is definitely going to make history, and it's not only going to affect content within the game, but it's going to be much bigger than Love and Deepspace. It raises a lot of questions for the gacha community as a whole. As for whether Valko will come back, it all depends on exactly what the situation is currently like for InFold, whether they can change it back without serious consequences, how much pressure they're under, etc. Whether they can release him only on the global servers, I doubt it actually, but who knows? I don't know what the logistics of that would be. If you have any knowledge of this, please feel free to comment down below and let me know what you think. I know some of the Chinese game devs have a global headquarters in Southeast Asia, especially in Singapore. As far as I know, InFold doesn't. And even if they set up a whole new location for operations, I don't know how feasible it would be to still release Valko. Either way, it is going to take a long time until they can find a solution, it feels like. So don't get me wrong, I would love for them to find a way to release him as quickly as possible, and I'd be so excited for his return. But maybe it would be prudent for InFold to take some time, wait for the controversy to die down a little bit, and then find an apt solution. We'll just have to wait and see. Just a heads up though, there are a lot of rumors going around, a lot of different opinions and discussions. We cannot be sure of anything unless we get an official statement, so we just gotta wait for it. Until then, we just keep the protest online going, and I will also continue to make more Valko artworks, so do check out my Instagram where I post art if you like. Link is in the description. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, as I said, this was just my opinions and predictions for the aftermath. Let me know what your thoughts on this are, but as always, please be kind to others and respectful in the comments. If you like this video and want to see more content like this, please leave a like and consider subscribing to my channel. I'm starting out and it helps me out a lot. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!